Salt Lake City Police, is anyone inside? Salt Lake City Police, anyone inside? Open door left, bathroom. Shit. Okay, out.
Somebody's in there?
Yeah.
So what happened to lead up to this moment on Friday, April the 10th of 2020 in Salt Lake City, Utah? What had brought Police Sergeant Brandon Shearer to this apartment and the apparent scene of a murder?
Shit.
Join us as we take a look at the story of William Bradley.
William. Hey, you with us?
Before we begin, we would like to extend our deepest sympathies to the family and loved ones of Robert Leon Carter. Let's backtrack in time a bit from the point of Sergeant Shearer's terrible discovery. It was about 1 p.m. on a bright, warm day during the pandemic when Salt Lake City's 911 received a call from the management of an apartment complex just off of West Temple near the 1000 block. Maintenance workers had seen a man emerge from an apartment there covered in blood. He then dashed out and stole the maintenance crew's golf cart and headed south, weaving in and out of traffic. Salt Lake City, the spiritual home of the Mormon religion, is one of the steadiest growing cities in the world. It is both bustling and quiet, drawing visitors and new residents each year from around the world. On this day, one man was creating a massive disturbance, and Sergeant Shearer would be one of the many officers who responded to the call. By the time Shearer arrived on the scene, other officers had already secured William Dennis Bradley and separated him from the golf cart.
I'm recording, so
Okay. Well, either way,
I
so
hope that's not his blood. Or I mean, I hope that is his
he just
blood.
made a statement that he cut his dog's head off, and we dealt with him the other day, and he had a dog with him, so doesn't have one today.
Well,
So they're heading back over to Palmer Court. They're going to let him in his apartment.
where did that supposedly happen? At Palmer Court?
At Palmer in his, I guess he has an apartment there.
Whatever William was claiming, he had obviously been in either extreme mental distress during a psychotic episode or under the influence of very strong hallucinogens. The first officers on the scene had already put in a request to pink sheet the man, making a formal request for the authority to have the man taken to a local hospital for a psychological evaluation along with the treatment of any wounds he had.
We're not 100% this is all his blood. So
Is any of it his blood?
well, he does have a stab wound in his leg.
From himself? Or
That's what we're thinking. So he keeps telling us he's been fighting the Terminator for an hour and a half. He sawed the Terminator's head off is how he walked.
I bet that's the dog.
So we've got 2 units headed back to Palmer Court to go to the apartment
Okay.
to make sure nobody else is in there. Nonetheless, at a minimum,
Have we started crime lab yet?
no.
I'm on it.
Yep.
Where's my dog? Get my dog. Get my dog.
Like I say, depending on what all
It's on his face.
blood.
Get my dog. Right now, get my dog and I'll go to the hospital. If not, you got a fucking drink.
No, then that'll be the option. Either you go with
Where's my dog at? Get my dog.
We're going to get your dog right now.
Okay?
Get my dog.
Yeah.
Okay? Let's not do it the hard way, alright?
I don't want to go.
All right.
I want to go home. Let's go.
You can go home right after you talk at the hospital,
Okay.
okay?
Where's your truck?
Our station's
Well,
right there.
I've
Oh,
texted
you
him.
just walk from the station?
Yeah,
Yeah, there.
it's right here. It's easy to walk.
That's probably true. Yeah.
It's actually easier right
Yeah.
here.
Well, you'd have to. Can you make that turn?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, because your driveway's.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, William, we're just waiting for our ambulance, alright? When they get here, are you going to
Oh, right here on his leg? Is that what you're talking?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to have to hold off on that.
I got
So are you seeing, other than the leg, are you seeing anything else in my
Something on his nose.
Based on how it's smeared, yeah.
Okay.
It's just It's all.
You can see it. It's all
Really
really
intrigued
to see what's in the apartment,
I hope it's a dog.
right? I mean, I hope it's not.
Well, I'd rather a dog
Right,
than
but
any
I'd
other
rather
option.
that than something else. Right.
As Sergeant Shearer drives over to the Jefferson School apartment complex, the officers remaining with William attempt to load him into the Gold Cross ambulance. William would become combative, officers report in the incident, and he had threatened to knock out the officers and the EMTs on the scene. He also claimed that his name was Billy Badass and that he was protected by angels. He also shouted that the Judgment Day was coming and the Mormon Church should watch out. He also expounded the supposed fight with the Terminator, telling officers he had fought with the android for over an hour and a half. "I killed the bastard, and the bastard was the Terminator," he said again. He would also tell police, once he had calmed down again, that he was just trying to get some cigarettes. William would eventually be restrained and loaded into the back of the ambulance and transported to the LDS hospital. Officer Gretchen McNeese rode in the back of the ambulance to provide security for the emergency workers who were tending to the man's injuries, a stab wound to the leg and a laceration to his nose. 2 other officers would follow along in their own squad cars and assist with offloading the man at the hospital. They would then cuff both of the man's hands to the rails of the gurney he was placed on in the emergency room, since he had become erratic and violent again. Meanwhile, Sergeant Shearer had arrived at the Jefferson School apartment complex.
The window's broken, but the screen's not out.
A person's in there?
There's probably, if it's not his blood, then somebody's got to still be in there.
Well, he's talking about his dog.
His dog was fine.
His dog was fine?
Yeah, we saw his dog. Unless he cut his dog up.
Well, if his dog's fine, they're
Yeah, I mean, we saw his dog.
saying his dog's fine. Unless all that blood came from his leg, but that's a lot of blood.
So I looked at the backside, and the window's broken,
Okay.
but the screen's still there. So that's why I'm assuming that somebody's still in there. I tried the door, but I didn't know if you guys wanted me going in or not.
And this is where our story started. While waiting for the crime lab personnel to arrive on the scene, officers noticed that there were quite a few blood spatters on the steps leading down from the second floor of the apartment building. The trail was obviously left behind by William as he attempted to make his escape and stole the golf cart. The golf cart was also seized and towed away from the scene of the arrest. The crime lab would comb it for evidence as well, including the blood left behind by William and whoever might have been his victim. Forensic experts and a staff photographer would make their way into apartment G204 and attempt to figure out what had happened in the small one-bedroom apartment. Jessica Kilgore with the crime lab would say in her report that the living room of the apartment had been set up as a bedroom, with the bed and nightstand and TV there as well. It looked lived in, but didn't show any signs of struggle. The actual bedroom of the apartment, however, was a different story. Broken glass littered the floor, some from a broken window, the rest apparently from a shattered mirror. There were also several pieces of furniture knocked over and some obviously broken during the fray. There, along the south wall of the bedroom, lay the body of a dead man, wearing a jacket and black denim pants, a scarf tied around his right arm. Piled on top of the man, around his head, was a broken side table and the remnants of a large wooden frame, such as one for a picture or a mirror. She described the injuries to the man, first that his face was swollen and incredibly bruised. A large laceration ran from his right ear to the left side of the back of his head. There were large splatters of blood on the wall near his right arm. When the jacket sleeve and scarf were slid up from the wrist, it showed there had been a massive cut there as well, and there was a large amount of blood that had soaked into the jacket sleeve and scarf. His knuckles on both hands showed many lacerations as if he had been in a fight for his life. On his other wrist was a flimsy hospital ID tag that read Robert Carter. In the pocket of his jacket was found a Utah ID card for Robert Leon Carter, a 58-year-old man living in Salt Lake City. More papers found within the wallet in his back pocket chained to his belt loop corroborated his identity. 2 small packets of pills were also found in the man's pocket. Nearby his body was found a pair of oven gloves, one soaked in blood, the other not. A pair of broken glasses were also nearby, speaker housing, and a laundry basket. In the apartment's kitchen, a lone, large, and bloody shard of the mirror had been placed on the counter. The apartment was swept for prints and blood samples and any other evidence that could be found. Meanwhile, over at the LDS hospital, William had gone on another tear, kicking the attending doctor and 3 other members of the emergency room staff before he could be restrained by the officers on hand. Once secured, he was sedated by the hospital staff and fell into a deep sleep. The doctor on call would tell the police officers that, in his opinion, William had been doing methamphetamines heavily and had not slept for days. Meth benders can go on for days upon end before the person's body or mind or money runs out. It would be after midnight before William awoke and began speaking to the doctor and nurses in attendance. He had slept for nearly 10 hours. It was time to take him to the police department to be interviewed. He was put in a restraining wrap, loaded into a wheelchair, and rolled out to a waiting car to transport him to the police department. Buckled in for his safety, William was transported across town and then wheeled into the interview room. As he was wheeled into the building, he started slipping back into sleep and would prove hard to rouse.
William, open your eyes for me, man. Hey, William. Gonna leave you an exit. Perfect.
Once detectives Nathan Wiley and Stephen Pariseau entered the room, they realized that they were stuck with a difficult situation. Before any kind of interview or interrogation can begin, they are required to verify who the person is and obtain, if possible, any other pertinent information such as date of birth or an address. Once that's been done, they are required to advise the person of their Miranda rights, particularly their right to silence and to have an attorney present. In this case, the 2 men were left to struggle with even verifying William's identity.
Hey, William. William.
William, you awake?
William, open your eyes for me, man. Hey, William. There you go. William, my name's Detective Wiley, and this is Detective Pariseau, okay? Right now you're at the police station. The reason you're in that restraint is just some stuff that happened over at the hospital, okay? So that's for your safety and my safety. You got that? You understand that? William.
William. William. Hey, you with us? Huh? You with us, William? William?
William, I need you to open your eyes, man, and look at me, okay? Open them up. William, hey, open your eyes and look at me, okay? I need you to keep your eyes open, okay? Can you keep your eyes open for me? Tell me your name. What is it? Say your first name for me. William? Do you go by any other name? Do you go by William, or does somebody call you something else?
William. Hey, bro. You all right? Hey. You okay? You what?
I didn't catch that. You wanted to go to bed? Okay, I understand that, but we need to talk to you, okay, to try to figure some things out, all right? So I just need you to stay awake for just a short period of time, okay? And then we can get you to where you need to go to bed. Does that sound like a plan? I want to get you to go to bed, but right now I need you to stay awake for just a little bit, okay? Okay, William?
William. Hey. Hey, we need you to wake up. Wake up.
Okay.
Okay, I need you to keep your eyes open. You're closing your eyes again.
Hey. You're going to get mad at me, but I'm going to keep waking you up, man. What? Open your eyes. Open your eyes. Hey.
William, I know you want to get stretched out and go to bed and get out of those restraints, but the quicker you wake up and you talk to me, you were up and talking to the nurses before you came here. I know that, okay? So you need to wake up and you need to talk to me, all right? Otherwise, William, I'm going to just take this as a refusal that you're not going to talk to me.
Maybe William is a very cagey individual and is incredibly good at pretending to be too sleepy to answer questions, but more than likely he's running such an incredible sleep deficit that even with trace amounts of methamphetamine still working their way out of his system, he simply cannot stay conscious. Frustrated, the two detectives still remain professional as they can. They try yet again to get the most basic information out of the man. William can barely even growl out his own name in his scratchy, raspy, whispered voice.
Hey. William. Wake up, man. We'd like to talk to you for a minute. We'd kind of like to hear your side of this story.
William, what's your last name? Bradley? What's your date of birth? You gotta say it loud so I can hear you. I can't hear you. 7 what? Okay. What's your address of where you're living at? I didn't hear the south. I heard West Temple, but what's the south? Say it loud so I can hear you. All I'm hearing is West Temple, but I can't hear the south. All right, I'm done.
Yeah.
Be back here shortly, okay?
Paperwork's in that folder right there.
There's nothing they can do with him or to him in this situation. There's no way that he would understand his rights if they tried to explain them to him. They're just left with marking it down as a refusal to speak and hold him over in hopes that he would be able to speak after some time in jail, sleeping and recovering from his long, murderous bender. He would sleep in the wheelchair, bound up in the restraint wrap, unbothered for 30 minutes before the detective and 2 officers come in to wheel him out and take him to the Salt Lake City jail. William would be charged with murder and 4 counts of assault by a prisoner for his attacks on the emergency room personnel. Judge Teresa Welch would hold him over with a $1 million bond. William would file paperwork that he was indigent, having been previously unemployed for some time before the incident, and court-appointed defense attorneys would be assigned to him from Salt Lake Legal Defenders. In the meantime, Robert Leon Carter, 58 years of age, would be buried. He was apparently homeless at the time of his death, and his obituary offered no more information than he had once lived and that he had died, offering no information about what happened between those dates. Records found in our investigation showed that he had been through 2 difficult bankruptcies over a decade before. His last known address had shown that he had been homeless approximately 1 year before his life ended. We'll never know how he met up with William Bradley or how long they had known each other, even if they really did. Only the 2 men know, and Robert can no longer tell us, and William would never take his day in court. It would take nearly 3 years of delays, some caused by the difficulties of the COVID pandemic, some by scheduling conflicts by defense attorneys, before the courts had to throw up their hands in frustration, much like the detectives had during the interrogation. Prosecutors would finally offer a plea deal just to get the case settled and some sort of justice to be found. William Bradley would plead guilty to murder, but it would be brought down from a Class 1 felony to a Class 2. He would also plead guilty to assault by a prisoner. He would be sentenced to up to 15 years in prison for the murder and up to 5 years for the assaults, to be served concurrently. William Bradley is now serving his time as an offender in Housing Unit B4 of the Utah State Correctional Facility. If you found this case compelling, don't forget to like the video.
Ouija board. The next video comes from the TikTok user Harry McClary. One day Harry decided to mess around with a Ouija board, thinking nothing bad would come of it. But a few nights later, he woke up to this.
The deliberate attempt to contact the spirit of a deceased person is known as a seance.
Hey.
But I have a skill you might like.
What the fuck?
Wanna try it? Chee-hee! 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 Chee-hee!
On another night, Harry and his partner woke up to the sounds of their dog Henry barking in a rather strange manner right at the basement door. When Harry goes to check, it doesn't end well.
Hello? Oh my God!
Something comes charging out of the basement, scaring him away. On another night, he hears a door repeatedly opening and closing, coming from within the basement. This time, he decides to go down there and see for himself what's going on. The door stops, and just as he gets within reach, it completely opens all the way, revealing a pitch-black room with no light, as if something was trying to lure him inside. Luckily, he quickly ran away. 4 days later, while reading a book, Harry would capture something terrifying on camera. The light shatters, and just mere seconds afterwards, a dark shadow figure can be seen, lurking within one of the dark rooms. Eventually they saged the house, and it seemed like that was the end of it. But one night it returned. So just what exactly did they welcome into their house after playing with the Ouija board? Is it a real ghost or just a simple ruse? Once again, I'll let you judge. It followed me home. The next video comes from the TikTok page They Are With Me, who we just featured recently. The man who owns the page just went to visit his father's grave and attempted to contact his spirit, but in doing so, it seems he called something to manifest, and it followed him home. He has been dealing with this haunting ever since.
Dios mío. ¿Quién está ahí?
Now, continuing from here, many of his viewers recommended him to light a candle so that the spirits in his apartment can rest and move on. But it doesn't look like that will be happening anytime soon.
Bueno, me encuentro haciendo este video porque revisando la caja de comentarios me han recomendado mucho prender velas para que los espíritus que estén aquí en el apartamento puedan descansar, puedan ir hacia la luz, me permitan descansar. Aquí tengo una vela que me la dio una persona con mucha fe para ayudarme con todo esto, y la persona dice que esta vela está bendecida. Entonces voy a prenderla con la misma fe para que la presencia que está aquí en el apartamento atormentándome pueda ir hacia la luz. Bueno, ya quedó la velita emprendida. ¿Puedes escuchar algo ya? Algo se movió para allá. El florero se movió. Estoy seguro que ese florero se movió.
Once again, his viewers pointed out that by lighting the candle on a table with a reflective mirror-like surface is enough to create a portal. He did say that he didn't have much experience with this, and every time he tries a suggestion, things end up getting much worse. The next night he wakes up to some creepy noises around 10 p.m, only to capture something downright chilling.
Son las 10 de la noche, con 20 minutos y ya estaba durmiendo porque estos días tengo que madrugar y acabo de escuchar que alguien me susurró fuerte al oído. Fue una voz horrible, entonces eso me despertó. Aparte de eso también estoy sintiendo pasos, estoy sintiendo ruido. Y bueno, yo espero que esta noche sea muy tranquila. ¿Qué fue eso? Dios mío, ¿qué fue eso? Me arrebataron la cobija. Ay, Dios mío. Arrebataron la cobija. No sé si salir porque estoy asustado. Todavía se escuchan voces de la gente porque está muy temprano. Estoy temblando, estoy nervioso, súper nervioso.
His blanket is violently snatched and sent flying onto the floor. Although frightened, he musters the courage to search the house, turning the lights on each room as he does so. But in the end, he finds nobody there. For the next 2 nights, nothing happens. That is until the 3rd night when the power goes out and things get truly horrifying.
Llevaba 2 noches que no sucedía nada, pero otra vez estoy viendo. Voy a prender la luz. Voy a prender esto. Ay, tampoco prender la luz, Dios. ¿Será que se fue la energía? No hay energía, no hay energía. Mi apartamento está sin energía, mi apartamento está sin energía. Pero al momento no se ve nada extraño, pero les juro que yo escuché unos golpes. Miren que si hay energía. Yo estoy sin energía. Estoy sin energía. ¿Qué es lo que estaba sonando? Se escuchaban unos golpes duros, pero no sé qué es lo que... Al parecer todo está tranquilo. Aquí se ve todo tranquilo.
es eso? Ay, con mi cocina, Dios. Ay, con mi cocina, Dios mío. Señor bendito. Perdóname, toma, pero se escucharon los pasos. Dios mío, bendito, ¿qué es eso? Ay, Dios, dame valor, Señor, dame valor. Dame valor, no tengo temor, Señor, no tengo temor. ¿Qué fue eso, Dios? ¿Qué fue eso? Señor bendito, ¿qué fue eso?
A black shadow figure can be seen just standing there amidst the darkness, which sends him running straight into his bedroom. And then we hear a creepy female scream along with some footsteps. But when he comes out of the room, there is no sign of anybody around. This would definitely be enough to leave anybody in the depths of despair, and it's getting stronger every day, and he doesn't know what he should do about it. Home alone. In the following video, a man is home alone in his house when strange things start happening. It isn't the first time this has happened in his house. He's upstairs in his bedroom one day, when all of a sudden he hears a loud bang coming from downstairs. Not sure what to make of it, he gets his camera and begins to record. This is what he captures.
Hey guys, it's like 12 here. I've been hearing some sounds in my house, and I feel like I should record this and try to be quiet here. Yeah, like that. You hear that? Fuck. Hello? Oh! What the hell? Oh, shit. What the? Come on, come on. Shit. What the fuck? Alright. I'm going back out there. I've been here for a little bit. I'm gonna see. Very quiet here. I just need to go upstairs and get some of my stuff and leave. Christ. What the fuck? Shit. Oh fuck. What the fuck? Stop. Fucking stop. Stop!
All sorts of strange things are happening around the house. At one point, aggressive knocking can be heard coming from the front door, but when he goes towards it, something pushes him forwards, causing him to drop the camera and run away. Unfortunately, he has yet to upload another video ever since this was taken 7 years ago, so whatever happened afterwards is unknown. Hotel night shift. A man named Dustin Frazier, who lives in the Appalachian Mountains, works the night shifts in a haunted hotel as a front desk agent. On one night, he's monitoring the security cameras behind him when he notices a guest sitting in a chair in the lobby. Upon going to meet them, something chilling happens. Take a look. He sees a lifeless figure sitting in the chair in the lobby on the live camera, but when he goes around to greet the person, there's nobody there. We can see that the camera is live because when he goes back around the corner to check again, we can see himself on the camera as there's a slight lag on the footage. Even creepier, when he goes to check the back room and comes back, the figure is now there in the hallway just watching him. Something lurking. TikTok user Hey Charmaine has been experiencing some strange events occurring around her house from time to time, such as objects falling by themselves and having strange reoccurring dreams, and she believes that it might be related to the time she played with a Ouija board back in college. She also found a Daruma doll in college that she took home with her, and on one night she is woken up to some screaming sounds and decides to pull her phone out and record. What she captures is definitely chilling.
I just woke up. I heard someone screaming outside my window. Oh my god. What? There's a guy out there and he's just staring out my window. What is he doing? What the hell? Is he staring at me? Oh my god, I think there was something fucking in my room. I don't know.
She sees someone outside just before her closet door opens by itself, and then an object falls out, causing her to run straight to her car. But that's when she sees someone or something through her window, and on another night she captures something that sends her running out of the house once again.
What the shit? Oh my god. Oh my god.
A hand can be seen moving underneath the sofa, but when she goes to check, she finds nothing there, and the gap underneath is too small for someone to fit under. But just moments later, someone appears beside the curtains, causing Charmaine to run for it. But in the end, I'll let you be the judge of this one. The Ouija Cemetery. A man named Germain was exploring an old cemetery alone at night somewhere in Argentina when he stumbled across an old Ouija board just laying on top of a gravestone. And of course, he did the unthinkable. He decided to take it back with him. And even creepier, this Ouija board seems to have some sort of pentagram sprayed on the back of it, as well as what he believes is most likely 5 drops of blood in the center of the board. However, he states that he doesn't believe in anything paranormal, so he'll keep the board and try it out. And a few days later, he starts experiencing paranormal activity around the house. And one night, he's woken up to some creepy sounds and records this.
Escuchen, escuchen, escuchen. Esos son los sonidos que le hablé. Justo de madrugada, escuchen. Nadie me va a decir que esos son gatos. Escuchen. Son pasos. Son pasos. Ok. Ok. ¿Quién anda ahí? No hay luz. Ok. Esta es la puerta abierta. ¡Ey! ¿Quién está ahí? Ok. Voy a buscar la picana. ¿Qué? ¿Quién anda ahí? ¿Qué mierda? ¿Qué mierda? ¿Quién anda ahí?
He hears knocking coming from above, and then the door opens by itself, and then when he looks around the house, he hears a sudden sound and finds a bunch of items on the floor, including the Ouija board, which was all nice and tidy seconds ago. The very next night, he's woken up to something a little more disturbing.
¡Ey! ¿Qué pasa? ¡Ey! ¿Hay alguien ahí? Otra vez la mujer de negro. Mierda. Otra vez lo mismo.
He finds nothing inside the closet and he sees a dark figure go across the window, but as he goes to check, there's no one there. Now, ever since that Ouija board was brought in, this activity just keeps getting worse each night, and now he believes something is trying to get inside.
Miren, 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 miren. ¿Qué quiere? ¿Qué quiere? Está la sal. No puede pasar porque está la sal. No puede pasar porque está la sal. ¡Hey! Quiere entrar. Está la sal. ¿Qué es eso? ¿Qué quiere? ¿Qué mierda es eso? ¿Qué mierda es eso? Miren la sal. ¿Qué mierda es eso? ¿Qué mierda es eso? Cortó la luz. ¿Qué es eso? ¿Qué mierda es esa? Luz. ¿Qué mierda es esa?
A dark shadow can be seen behind the window, but when he goes to check, he sees no one there, except for a small flame on the ground which is terrifying enough. He now believes the Ouija board might have been cursed and something is haunting his house relentlessly. Taking this Ouija board from the cemetery just might have been the worst mistake he ever made.
The first time I saw a ghost I was 18. I was working at a care centre, and one of my favourite residents was named Maud. She ate the same breakfast every day, toast with butter and grape jelly. So around 9 AM I got her toast ready. At 9:15 she came down, and she was a little late, but no worries. I said good morning and set the toast down in front of her. She nodded, I smiled, and went back to the kitchen. I came out later to an empty table, with untouched toast sitting there. That was weird. So I asked my CNA where Maud went. She looked at me sadly. Honey, didn't you hear? Maud passed away about a half hour ago. She died peacefully. Her kids were in her room when she passed. It was really beautiful. I looked at the clock. It was 9:45. Exactly a half hour since Maud came down for breakfast. Maud was as real to me as the table I set her toast on. If I had reached out, I swear I could have touched her. But it obviously wasn't the physical her. And I have believed in ghosts ever since. Of course it helps that my co-workers and I can still see them all the time. My granddad used to live in a cottage which had something in it. Cliché things would happen. The piano would play random keys at night, the decorative plates would move, the cat would hiss randomly at the same spot in the house. The strangest thing was a door between the master bedroom and the small box room, my room whenever I stayed there. For some reason, the door in between the two rooms would always be open in the morning. Now my granddad and grandma were quite private people and liked to have that door shut when I would stay. My granddad would always tell me off for opening it in the night, even though I swear I hadn't. So one night we talked about it, and I suggested putting something in front of the door so it couldn't open easily. Great, good idea. So my granddad took some books and stacked them in front of the door so they wouldn't open that easy, or not without making a lot of noise anyway. We said goodnight, and off to bed we went. The next morning the books are still standing up, but the door's open. We were obviously freaked out. The next night he did the same, books in front of the doors and off to bed. In the morning all of the books were knocked over. Some had even been put in different rooms of the house, and some were in the shed, some 50 meters away. After my grandparents had moved out, they found some records in a local church about the house. Apparently, a girl had been pushed down the stairs by her mother and died. They believed this was what was causing things to happen. The husband of the couple that moved in after them had had a heart attack 3 weeks after moving in, after being supposedly happy and healthy. My mum told me this story when I was younger, but now refuses to talk about it. This was before I was born. My sister was a newborn at the time, and my mum stayed home for a while after maternity leave while my dad worked. She was new to Canada and eager to make friends and eventually get to know our neighbours. One had a 7-year-old girl. My mum would often visit and invite her over for ice cream, to the point it became a reoccurring thing after school. Unfortunately, the kid got into an accident and passed away. Time kind of passed until one day my mum heard the door knock. She peeped through the door hole and shockingly saw the little girl. Out of panic, she kind of stumbled backwards with no words coming out of her mouth. Frozen, the little girl asks if she can come in for ice cream. My mum claims she told the little girl to go away, and she wasn't real. The girl persisted, this time knocking harder on the door. The knocks got harder and harder, eventually turning into thundering smashes. The door frame was shaking, and the door itself looked like it was about to split down the middle. Then suddenly everything stopped. It's dead quiet, and everything is calm and motionless. That's when my mum claims she heard the most evil, roaring and terrifying voice belt out from behind the door, "Let me in." My parents split up when I was a kid, and I went to my father's new home when I was something like 15. I'm 30 now. This house had quite a story, and my father as well. I don't really know if there's an equivalent in English, but there was a magnesteur, a healer. To be honest, I grew up with a lot of doubts about his gift, but he actually helped a lot of people, so I went along with it. He claimed several times he had the capacity to sense the souls around him. He would also talk about his guides. He was a believer, a lot more than I. I generally think most stories are interesting, but probably nonsense. Anyway, he brought the house. That was almost in ruins. He brought it from a friend of the village he was in, as we grew up in the countryside of France in the Berry. It was a particularly renowned village, because many artists and potters lived there. It was a big business. Well, apparently the previous owner was a potter too, but an eccentric one. He made an entire wall on the house with clay pots mounted on it. I heard he was buried in this village, and he eventually killed himself in this very house. His spouse didn't want to sell it to any other potters because she thought that they were responsible for his death, so she sold it to my father. When I came in the first time, I just felt like being in an old country house without anything special. The stone floor was cold, there was a big wood stove, and my father made a mezzanine in front of his bedroom. It was a house for one person, with a living room mixed with the kitchen, a bathroom on the east, and his waiting room, or consultation room for his healing sessions on the west, and just the bedroom upstairs with the mezzanine that I would sleep in. We spent a few hours in the living room first. I was walking a bit, and at some point I thought I saw something by the window. It was just from the corner of my eye, but I was sure I saw something. I went to see what it was, and my father just said, "Oh, you saw him too?" Then he told me about the guy and his story. He told me several other experiences. One especially stuck with me. When he was taking the measures to install the new windows, he heard something telling him, "Tu t'es trompé," as in, you made a mistake. He quickly dismissed it and thought that it had just been in his head. Then he went to order his windows, and indeed there was a mistake. He had other experiences like things falling, voices, or generally the feeling that he wasn't alone, but I guess it's not exactly the most authentic proof. A few weeks later, I went to sleep on his mezzanine. Actually, I couldn't sleep because my father, in his bedroom, snores like a bear. It was like 2 a.m., and not being able to sleep at all when I heard something downstairs. The front door opened, while I knew it was locked. At first I felt scared, but mostly because I thought someone was housebreaking. But then, when I heard something, I became even more frightened. There were footsteps. It sounded like they were barefoot. I could tell someone was walking downstairs, dragging their feet. So at some point I had to verify, and I slowly walked to the stairs and stuck my head out to see if there was anyone there. And I saw a foot out of the shadow, a pale, naked foot in front of the first step. I was completely petrified. I don't know how long I saw it for, but at some point it turned back, and I quickly went to bed. I heard the steps again, but I didn't hear the door this time. A few hours later, I managed to have the courage to dress and go downstairs. The door was closed, the wood stove was off, and the living room was extremely cold. And just when I went to verify if the door was locked, I heard more steps, so I ran upstairs again. The next morning I told my father about it, and he just laughed. Yeah, he comes visiting sometimes, he's probably just testing you. My father thinks I also have gifts like him, but I honestly don't believe it, at least I don't want to. I know I was completely sober when I experienced that night. It just made me think a lot about it. Anyway, my father still lives in the house, but apparently he doesn't have much more paranormal activity than that. He says the previous owner probably got bored and moved on. Occasionally when he tells the story, I think the guy was probably really bored that time I saw him. In any case, let's not meet again, spooky ghost.